I was born under the sign of Uranus, the stag-faced savage god of the wilderness and the hunt, to the Paleo-Celtic cultures. I was born to be a hunter, and a hunter I am. Such is the way of our people, since before we struck fire from the living rock. Let me tell you a hunting story. Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. Welcome to another edition of Illinois Archery Season 2014. Every day of hunting is exactly the same, but every day of hunting is just a little bit different. I made my ascent on this cold mid-November's day up Chipmunk Ridge. Due to the treacherousness of the ascent, I did not have an arrow on my string, and I was completely unprepared for the buck that I met at the top of the ridge. The wind was in my face, and so he could not smell me, but he knew something wasn't right. As I tried to move into a better position, he made his retreat, but my heart was filled with joy. And so, having started the day predator and prey with 2 left feet, I put my stand on my tree after setting a few scent wicks in hopes of luring the buck back to my position. Making my way up the tree with my climbing tree stand, my heart was filled with hope, while the cold tore at my skin. And yet, once I reached the top of the tree, with numbed fingers pulling up my bow, I realized that the wind had changed. I was set up about 50 yards from a gully along the ridge top, with an arrow on my string and sadly cursing the wind on the back of my neck. I got down to the business of hunting, which in this time of year in Illinois, as I've said many times, is a war of attrition. Man versus nature, and man versus man. My arrow rattled against my bow as I shivered. And still I sat, fighting the battle of man versus man, trying to sit still, to avoid fidgeting. The squirrels moved all around me, and the wind, stroking the back of my neck, sent shivers down my spine. If only the wind were in my face. But I sat watching, waiting, and listening, admiring the desolate beauty of the falling snowflakes all around me. Not beautiful snowflakes, but simply sleet, freezing rain. And unbeknownst to me, there was a young doe making her way just out of the vision of the camera. I had no idea that she was there until she snorted, coming around to the front of me and catching my wind. Still I sat, watching, waiting, listening. Hours had passed. I had been forced to add a few layers of clothing. And then, a flash of white and movement. The ridge across the gully had deer. But the oppressive elements forced me to use a urine bottle as a hand warmer, and then, as if a switch was flicked, the deer began to move all around me, just out of the vision of my fisheye lens. Deer were chasing up and down the gullies, just out of reach of my recurve and beyond the vision of the camera. Behind me on the trail, and then in front of me, I had seen more deer today than I had seen in the past 2 years of hunting. and then I saw the white rump and the antlers of a dominant buck across the ridge. I tried using my can call to lure him across the gully, but then with a rustle of leaves and a flash of white, he had found a doe. Down in the gully, they answered the call of the wild, I have no doubt, but I stood with my bow at the ready in case another buck should happen by to chase him off his doe. The cold tore at my body, and I did not shake from buck fever. My legs trembled, shaking my camera mount, and as the sun fell lower, the deer movement continued. But sadly, due to poor stand tree choice, nothing was within range. But still I sat, watching, waiting, and listening, watching the deer move all around me, until finally I made an ethical decision to remove my arrow from my string and leave this beautiful, desolate patch of timber for the evening, numbed with cold, but filled with joy. The same primal emotions that we feel when we hunt are the same primal emotions of our ancestors. And as I made my way on the arduous hike back out of Chipmunk Ridge, I was truly happy in the hunt. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at legallyconcealed.org. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. Thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.